All right, everybody, welcome in to another episode of the NFL Seekers podcast. Today, we're going to be recapping the wild card weekend of the playoffs, round one of the playoffs, and there's some electric performances, some surprising performances. Both of us, we're a little bad on our picks. We definitely we're taken by surprise with a few of these, but man, C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love, these two just lit the whole world on fire this weekend, and it was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch as a bystander with no like bias with anything. It was just a really fun weekend of football. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was incredible to watch. CJ Stroud and Jordan Love are the two biggest takeaways, as you'll hear in this episode. These two young quarterbacks just absolutely went out there and balled and took the NFL by storm and did stuff that me, quite frankly, I'm pissed at myself for not seeing. I'm pissed at my picks last week. I'm very upset with myself. And going forward, we're gonna think in a more positive, better mindset. And we're gonna roll with these young guys. Let's just say that. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yep, we've been higher on Stroud and Love all off season, and I mean, it just really is depressing not sticking to our guns and picking them to win because we love those two. We've been higher on them than literally anyone, and they're top quarterbacks in this league. That is the takeaway for this episode. We'll get into it. We'll just get into the first game. The Browns um, went into Houston and lost to the Texans 45-14 because Stroud is the best player in the NFL. I'll get my takeaway out of the way right now. I think Stroud is the best player in the NFL. I think he's not going to. I think he should win the MVP. I think he is the best quarterback in the NFL, and I really don't think you can argue anyone like more valuable. I don't think anyone's been more valuable than Stroud. And who's outperformed Stroud? Like you could say Lamar's MVP, fine, but he hasn't been better than Stroud. He has the Ravens team around him. Stroud, has a bunch of rookie weapons around him and a rookie coach and a young defense with a lot of like waiver wire additions. You know what I mean? So Stroud has elevated his team the most of any quarterback, and it's not really close in my opinion. And I'm insanely high on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen might be playing MVP football as well, but Stroud is playing the best football in the NFL, and it's just incredibly crazy to say. It sounds like I'm being crazy bold, but he's just different. He might be the best rookie quarterback we've ever seen. He is just different, and he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year. I think he should win MVP. He probably will get a few votes though.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Stroud should be MVP. He is the best player in football right now, and I don't think there's anyone necessarily even like touching that. I mean, Lamar is playing great football, but CJ Stroud as a quarterback right now, as a passer, as what he's doing as a rookie, we haven't even seen anything like it before. He is so incredible with the football and so surgical, and he does not make mistakes, and he makes big plays, and he is just everything he does is just almost perfect. That's my takeaway, and I'll get into my takeaway for this game. CJ Stroud is a top three quarterback, and the Texans are creating a real dynasty right now. With the dynasty being CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, who's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and D'Amico Ryans, who in my opinion, should probably be Coach of the Year at this point. Um, taking a rookie quarterback and winning a playoff game versus a Browns team who honestly had no. I mean, the outcome of this game, I don't think anyone could have predicted. Um, but now you look at it and it's just so clear. I mean, this team is turning into a real dynasty. They have the core pieces, they have the coach, they have the quarterback, they have that edge rusher who will probably be a top five edge rusher in the next 2 years. And yeah, I think this team is going to be a real dynasty for the next decade.
Yeah, the main takeaway is we have a new alien tier quarterback in the NFL. We have a new alien quarterback, and yeah, 16 for 21, 274 yards, three touchdowns. It's just
And a
insane.
perfect passer rating of a 157.1.
And he was just relentless. He just kept it coming. They had a pretty big lead all game. He just kept going. He kept his foot on the pedal. He made sure the Browns couldn't come back. It was a beautiful performance, and we're going to be seeing these for the next few decades from Stroud. It's just really fun, really fun.
Yeah. Texans fans, we are sorry about our pick last week. We won't do it again.
Yeah, Stores had Stroud as his number one quarterback in the draft. We both were insanely higher on the Texans than anyone coming into the season, and we both didn't stick to our guns and pick the Browns because we're silly, and we're gonna learn from our mistakes, and we'll move on. We'll move on to the next game. The Dolphins went into Kansas City in the freezing temperatures and lost to the Chiefs 26-7. And my takeaway actually is this guy right here, Rashee Rice, is the future. I think Rashee Rice is someone the Chiefs need to build around, and he could be a wide receiver one. You get another wide receiver one, wide receiver two type of opposite of him, though. That would be really, really electric, really elevate this team if they can draft another one in the first round to complement Rice. I think that's the move because Rashee Rice is a complete building piece to me. And honestly, I think Isaiah Pacheco is as well. I think Pacheco is just was just obviously an incredible steal in that seventh round, and I think you got to build around those two. And I think you found some really good pieces that you can win games with. As you saw, you can win playoff games with those two, kind of leaning on them. And another takeaway is Travis Kelce's kind of taking a step down.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and Rashee Rice, what the Chiefs did last year, picking him 55 overall, they really just nailed that pick. Coming out of SMU, it's kind of funny. It's like SMU breeds NFL talent and a receiver.
Receivers.
Rashee Rice is no different. He's following that trend, and he is just incredible. And he is a true alpha wide receiver one, a real building piece. And yeah, and like as you said, Travis Kelce did take a step down, and I think that's pretty clear and evident. But I'll get into my takeaway for this game, and that is Tua is a situational quarterback, and I don't believe Tua deserves a big payday. I'm going to put that out there right now. I think Tua is completely situational. I think you saw him with a great coach in Brian Flores and that system, and he couldn't thrive in it. You bring in Mike McDaniels, who brings in two of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL, and yeah, Tua will have his good games, and he's led this team to 11-7. He's a very good timing quarterback where he throws his time routes. But when something gets off schedule with Tua, they can't win. When you're forced to put pressure on Tua and you take away the one thing the Dolphins do well, with getting Tyreek Hill deep or just these little dink and dunks, he's not a very good quarterback. He's a very situational quarterback in my opinion, and I don't believe he deserves to be paid as a top 10, 12 quarterback this offseason. I don't think he gets that right after this game, and what a piss poor performance. I ultimately think the loss comes down to Tua on this one. In my opinion, I don't he didn't play good enough football. He didn't go out there. He didn't help his team at all. The only touchdown they got came off of Tyreek Hill barely getting past the defender, and it wasn't even a very good throw. He had to come back and get it, and then he somehow finds his way in the end zone. So that's my takeaway. Is Tua is a situational quarterback, and I can't justify the big payday for him.
Yeah, 60 passer rating in this game. You could definitely argue he's the reason they lost. They had players. They had Waddle, Hill out there. They had Mostert and Achane. They just, Tua wasn't a good enough point guard. He didn't elevate the team enough to overcome this struggling Chiefs team, really. So yeah, I agree. I don't think Tua's a franchise quarterback. I think that there will be a real possibility that they do look for like a Kirk Cousins in the offseason. I think that's a real possibility. You're going to hear a lot of those rumors the next few months, and we'll see if it happens. We'll see if they move off from Tua. It seems like him and McDaniel have a good relationship, but yeah, he is not. He's not like a top 10, top 12 quarterback that can like kind of elevate you in the playoffs, advance you to the next round. He has the perfect situation around him, and he couldn't get it done. There was a lot of injuries, but man, yeah, Tua is just. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it's disappointing, just to say the least.
Probably needs a new situation, but anything else you want to say in this one before we move on?
No, again, another head scratching pick from me this week, and we'll reassess, reevaluate, and we'll move on next week.
Yeah, the Chiefs prevail in the really cold, frigid weather with Taylor Swift in attendance, and we'll go to the next one. The Packers went into Dallas and destroyed the Cowboys 48-32. And my takeaway: Jordan Love, J Love is the future of the NFL, along with CJ Stroud. He's arrived as a top 10, maybe top 5 quarterback, definitely top 5 since week 13. He's been flawless, hasn't made a mistake essentially. And my thing with Jordan Love is he's just relentless. He doesn't stop. The Packers had the lead this whole game, and we know how good this Cowboys offense is. They can come back at any time, but Jordan was just accurate back foot throw after accurate back foot throw under pressure. Micah Parsons in his face. It did not matter. Jordan Love was just slinging it, throwing dimes, and it was fun to watch. He's arrived. He's here. He's that guy, and it's just so fun how accurate he is down the field. His throws past 10 yards, his stats on throws past 10 yards against the Cowboys, 8 for 10, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 93.6 PFF grade. So he is just on fire. That offense for the Packers is a real problem with all these young weapons. Like it's honestly insane. I don't know if there's a ceiling on this offense. The sky's the limit. They are so relentless. LaFleur is great play caller. It's just all clicking and it's kind of perfect right now. And I think they might give the Lions some problems, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, they don't play the Lions. Who do they play?
no, they're
Niners. They play the Niners. Never mind. They'll give the
yeah.
Niners some problems, but they probably won't beat them.
That's gonna be a real test. But like you said, Jordan Love since week 13. I don't think we've ever seen like an in game, and I'm gonna copy this. And I don't agree with this guy a lot on his takes, but Colin um, Coward, he I don't know why his name makes me laugh. But he said I don't think we've ever seen an in game or an in season quarterback progression this incredible with Jordan Love, and we haven't. I mean, he's since week 13, he's thrown 22 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's just been damn flawless. And it's been incredible to watch. And yeah, like you said, there's this young receiving core. This team is so young. I mean, from receivers to tight ends, it's incredible. Everyone's like a rookie, it seems like, or in their second year. And there is no ceiling. I mean, this team is going to be fantastic. They're the youngest team in the NFL. It's going to be super fun to watch. But with that, I'll get into my takeaway, and it's going to be shifted towards the Cowboys. And it's Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott crumble when it matters the most. They cannot get it done. They cannot figure. I mean, this Cowboys team is loaded. And when it matters the most, they shrivel up and crumble and hide from the pressure and hide from the spotlight. I mean, you lose to a team with almost essentially all rookies starting. And, Jordan Love, who's finally just getting into his rhythm. And, this Cowboys team's too good to be losing in the playoffs. They're too good. They not even get a playoff win. Not even wild card weekend at home get a win. And so my takeaway is, yeah, I think it's time to shift. I think it's time to fire McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy's a winner in the playoffs. I think they do a good enough job in the regular season to get him to the playoffs, but when it really matters the most, they just crumble under pressure. And I don't know, Dak definitely, those the pick sixes were horrible. Those were ultimately probably what lost him the game. And I don't know, these two crumble when it matters the most, and it's kind of hard, and we're gonna have to assess them, but. I mean, my opinion right now is Mike McCarthy should definitely be gone, and I don't know. I'm curious on Dak if he's the right answer for the Cowboys.
Yeah, to add a takeaway to your takeaway, Bill Belichick is a Cowboy thanks to Mike McCarthy fumbling against his former team. It's pretty poetic, but yeah, I think that is a real conversation this offseason is the Dak Prescott conversation. He was in MVP talks this whole season. He had a really good season, so I think if they do bring in like a Bill or something, he would work well with Dak. I think they probably ultimately keep Dak one more year, give him a chance with a different coach. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad if they moved off from Dak, and if they found a better situation, a better option. But yeah, I think Dak is a good fit. It's mostly McCarthy, really holding this team back. And we've said that since the offseason. He had a good start to the season, but something in his brain doesn't function when it gets down to the last 5 minutes of games. When it gets to the playoffs, especially, his brain just doesn't function. And in big moments, he just does not prevail. And it looks like that's probably the last McCarthy will ever see as a coach again. So yeah, just incredible from the Packers. Just insane job. The sky really is the limit with this team, the youngest team in the NFL, and they are blowing out one of the hotter teams in the NFL. So I love to see it. Jordan Love is him.
Yeah, you love to see this kind of game in the NFL. It's super awesome, super exciting. One of the more fun games, fun to see Jordan Love succeed.
All right, with that, we'll go on to the Sunday night game, the Stafford and Goff Bowl. The Rams went into Detroit and lost to the Lions by 24-23. And let's get to your takeaway in this one first.
Yeah, my takeaway in this one, honestly, this was the game of the week. I thought this was by far the best game. It felt like a playoff game, and it was extremely tight net, close. It was the revenge game, and yeah, I mean, I'll just get right into it. My takeaway right now, yeah, best game of the week. It was an absolute coaching masterclass. I mean, the coach is just brilliant, brilliant. I mean, you got Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, and Sean McVay. It's just it was a coaching masterclass. And then Puka Nakua and Amon-Ra St. Brown are electric. They are both stars. I think they're both, top 10 receivers in this league. And, I think these teams, despite the Rams losing, I have no doubt the Rams will be back in the playoffs with a playoff win next year. And that's going to be my takeaway from this. But congratulations, Lions, first playoff win since way long before we were born. I think it's been like 32 years. So it's awesome to see that. Shout out to the Lions, hell of a game. And no doubt these teams have such bright futures and will both be back, next year.
Yeah, shout out to the Rams. They did incredible. Shout out to Snead for his incredible draft. All these rookies did a great job. And yeah, this Rams roster really outperformed their talent level. So they did a great job. Hats off to the Rams. But yeah, my takeaway is actually with the Lions. It's just Ben Johnson is so incredible. He is just one of the better play callers I've seen. He always draws up a unique play to one of his star players and always draws them up to get wide open. And he just is moving downfield at ease all the time. It's just kind of relentless with Ben Johnson. He doesn't take his foot off the pedal. I just love the play calling from Ben Johnson. And in this game, it probably won them the game. He had some really creative plays and big moments. And yeah, I thought Goff did a really, really good job to complement that as well. So shout out to Goff and Ben Johnson. That's definitely my takeaways. I'm really interested to see how the Lions kind of fare without Ben Johnson next year because he's definitely going to be a head coach, and that's going to be a big change. Is no Ben Johnson calling plays. They're going to have to get a pretty good offensive mind in there, I think. So that will be really something to monitor for the Lions this offseason is kind of replacing Ben Johnson and how they fare without him. But yeah, just shout out to the Lions. Great performance. Honestly, just a great game. Definitely the game of the week.
I'm gonna just throw this out there. I think whatever team gets Ben Johnson will have the biggest improvement in their offseason. I think Ben Johnson is the next coach up. I think he's been the coach. I mean, even last year, he stayed back to run it through with the Lions, which I think is so admirable and honorable. I mean, it's so cool that he did that when he could have easily gotten a head coaching job last year. And yeah, he's the next man up, and I think he's got that. Honestly, he's got that Sean McVay type coaching, to him. He's very relentless. He's very brilliant, and what he schemes up is just a masterclass. And his offense and how the way he runs it is the next thing in the NFL, and what people are going to try and copy and mimic for years to come.
Yeah, I have a really good feeling about Ben Johnson. I think he's going to be one of the better head coach candidates to come out in a long time. I said that about Dable a few years ago, and I think he's going to be a lot better than Dable. So I really do think he's just a really, really good coaching candidate. In my opinion, he's the best one in this class, and whoever gets him is going to be insanely lucky, and he's going to mold a quarterback to be great once he gets his hands on a young quarterback that he gets to build around and mold around and fit his offense around him. I'm so excited for it. Ben Johnson, incredible. Anything else you want to say in this great game, though?
No, just game of the week in my opinion. Absolutely coaching masterclass and loved this one.
All right. And with that, we'll go on to the next one. Game was supposed to be played on Sunday, got moved to Monday because of the weather. The Steelers went into Buffalo and lost to the Bills 31-17. And let's get to your takeaway first on this one as well in the snowy game.
Yeah, this is super exciting for me to actually say this. Josh Allen is starting to thrive under the bright lights, and he minimized the mistakes. And I know this is kind of controversial. A lot of people are saying it was Bills and refs versus the Steelers. But in my opinion, the Steelers never belonged here in the first place. I don't think there was really a spot for them here in the playoffs. If they somehow pulled this one off, they would have been gone next week. But yeah, this was about the Bills and whatever the controversial calls, whatever. But yeah, Josh Allen, it was a really good get right game. He minimized the mistakes. He shined the brightest under these lights, and opposite of the Cowboys, is what Josh Allen did, and it was awesome to see, and it's awesome to see this Bills team have a serious chance of making a run for this one.
And I'm going to kind of piggyback off of your takeaway. I'm gonna go Dalton Kincaid as my kind of just takeaway is just Dalton Kincaid, just two words. He is just a beast. He is going to be a star tight end down the road for a long time. With Josh Allen, I probably should have mentioned Sam Laporta last game as well. Sam Laporta is just a complete star, but on that same path is Dalton Kincaid. These two are just incredible rookie tight ends, and I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be a star in the NFL for a long time. He really picked up here at the end of the season. I think he's going to kind of keep gaining off this steam and momentum. And I think he's going to play really good here in the final rounds of the playoffs. I think he's going to be like an integral part to the Bills' Super Bowl run. So I love this Josh Allen to Kincaid connection. And yeah, like you said, Josh Allen was really, really good in this game. He played a more surgical way of football than we even expected. And yeah, he is just he's playing up there at the top of the NFL right now. I would say um, him and Stroud have played the best football this year, up there with Lamar. Those three have played the best, and then you add Mahomes if you want to go top four quarterbacks right now. But yeah, it's crazy what's going on in this AFC. It's juggernauts, fireworks, and yeah, I think this Josh Allen to Dalton Kincaid connection can be special for a long time. It's better than the Stephon Diggs and Allen connection at this point.
Yeah, 100%. Love to see it. Dalton Kincaid from our home state, Utah, out there thriving. Also, Dalton Kincaid, he's my brother. We share a birthday, exact same day we were born on. So, I'm pretty much Dalton Kincaid the second. But yeah, incredible stuff. And yeah, it's fun to see. It's gonna be a fun Bills game next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, 3 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown for Kincaid, and then 21 for 30, 203 yards, 3 touchdowns for Josh Allen, and also had 74 and a touchdown on the ground. So just 2 stars that really took over
Superman.
this.
He's super. Josh Allen is Superman. That's what we're if we're running off of one team. If it's Superman. It's Josh Allen is Superman.
Yeah, he plays like Superman. His hero ball, he is the Superman of the NFL for sure. He puts that team on his back. And we'll go on to the last game of the week, the Monday night game. The Eagles went into Tampa and lost to the Buccaneers 32-9. Just a
Oh man.
pathetic showing. A lot of people expected it, but not us. We weren't bold enough to pick it. But shout out to this guy right here, Baker. The Baker Mayfield resurgence, 22 for 36, 337 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. 119.8 passer rating, and let's hear your takeaway.
Yeah, my takeaway is we're gonna focus on Baker on this one, and yeah, Baker just earned himself a huge payday. I mean, Baker's now talking multi-year extension. I think he's in the realm of 10 to 15 million. Maybe he even surpasses that a little bit. I mean, the fact that Daniel Jones got as big of a payday as he did, Baker could be stretching for the 20s, I think, honestly. I wouldn't even be surprised. I think he's earned it. I think Baker Mayfield has earned himself a 20 plus million-dollar contract, multiple year. And this dude's playing lights out. Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator, they mesh. This team meshes together. He's playing like freaking prime Tom Brady on the Bucks. I mean, it's incredible. And he went out there and he put the pedal to the metal to the Bucks. And there was a lot of drops. I mean, Baker Mayfield's stats aren't even going to be as good as they were because there was a handful of drops. Obviously, there's a handful of a lot of other stuff that made up for it, some broken tackles. But yeah, Baker Mayfield is legit. He's getting himself a big payday. And my second takeaway is Philadelphia stinks. That's it. It took me 6 games in a row of losing to finally realize that they stink. Yep.
So stinky. We trusted them to turn it around because of the talent and the stars that they have. But yeah, just stinky stuff from the Eagles. But yeah, on Baker, just insane, incredible stuff. I think he earned like 5 to 10 million a year in this one game. Like just a incredible game for his just overall stock and future. And really exciting. The Buccaneers team really is just playing at a high level. They're playing higher than their roster talent shows. So just you love to see it. Good stuff from Bowles. But yeah, when you go over to the Eagles, that's going to be my takeaway. Is Nick Sirianni, another one with 2 words. It's Nick Sirianni. I've been saying this for a long time. I identified this almost mid-season that like if anyone in the comments can tell me what Nick Sirianni does, where he comes from, what his background is, what he specializes in, what Nick Sirianni, if anyone can tell me anything about Nick Sirianni's background at this point, it's just conspiracy, like how he even got into the NFL and got this job. I don't know what he does other than argue with Chiefs fans and yell at the other coaches and stuff. But I mean, Nick Sirianni is pretty useless. He put together a pretty bad staff here. It looked like Jonathan Gannon kind of carried him last year, along with Steichen. So I don't know, man. He has to get fired, surely. I see that the Eagles owner really doesn't want Bill Belichick, and that's fine. But anyone but Nick Sirianni, in my opinion, because this is going the wrong direction. All your players are you have a lot of star players on this team, and a lot of them are kind of wanting out. One of them already retired out of nowhere. I just it feels like a mess. I see this going in a bad direction unless you kind of get a new coach in there, a new culture, and really switch things up because Sirianni is not it. And I know he comes from Frank Reich's tree. For all the people that actually want to answer my questions, he comes from Frank Reich's tree. Frank Reich has kind of became a meme this year, so I'm starting to think that maybe that tree might not be the best. It also stems from the Andy Reid tree, but I think cutting off after Frank Reich is just not good. So I wouldn't hire Sirianni. I would fire him and replace him with really anyone else. And yeah, just a disaster, disaster, disaster end to the season for the Eagles. It literally couldn't have gone worse for as good of a roster they have. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, the absolute meltdown disaster class that was the Philadelphia Eagles the last 8 weeks has just been it's been quite incredible to watch, and the fact that I didn't realize it sooner, this team just flat out stinks, and they got exposed, for what they lacked at, and that's coaching, and that was their secondary, and their offense is starting to become anemic and starting to get figured out. And Jalen Hurts was out there just not playing very good football either. His regression during the season has not been great. Obviously missing AJ Brown is a big part of that, but I think the only way Nick Sirianni can keep his job is if he can somehow miraculously, pull some really good coordinators. If he can land himself a really good defensive coordinator. I mean, Brian Johnson, I think, is actually an okay offensive coordinator, but if he can land another guy to help that coaching staff, that's kind of what might keep his job. But other than that, I don't really know what Nick Sirianni does besides kind of manage his coaching staff and yeah, you get mad and yell and say don't ban the tush push. But Vita Vea, the tush push stopper, love to see it. That was pretty awesome. Finally coming to an end. And without Jason Kelsey, I'm not sure they'll be able to do that against anyone anymore.
Yeah, literally made Jason Kelsey retire because of the tush push and some funny stuff. But yeah, back to Sirianni. I can't stand it. I don't understand what it is around him. Like it's offensive coordinator. So he came up as an offensive coordinator behind Frank Reich, right? But Frank Reich called all the plays that whole time. So it's just what did he ever do? He's never called plays. He's never like even he's
I don't even know how he got a head coaching job. It's just, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what was his, yeah, what was his credentials? What
that's what I'm
what
saying.
made
It
him
has to be
an
conspiracy.
appealing? Yeah, I mean, he did put together a good staff with Gannon and Steichen for the first couple of years, but as you slowly saw those guys who were obviously better head coaching candidates leave, um, he just got exposed for really not doing anything besides just being the face.
He's their head coach and he's an offensive guy. Why if he's mad at the play calling, if he's mad at Brian Johnson in the offense, why would he not take play calling duties at least once during the season? Like that just shows you that he's not surely not that competent at play calling because he is not very confident that he can because he hasn't ever done it because he was the offensive coordinator for a few years behind Frank Reich who called the play. So like yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like Pete Carmichael who just got fired with the Saints because he's behind Sean Payton for like 2 decades. So I don't know. It's kind of the same thing with me. I think Sirianni was just kind of he frauded his way to a head coach job, and we're seeing it now with they have an insane roster, and we're still seeing it because that defense is so bad. So yeah, Jalen Hurts, not good stuff. He should be fine next year, but yeah, just a disaster, man. It really is.
Yeah, this is the result that happened. So they're 32-9 in the playoffs. So that's your ultimate result with how the season went.
You really honestly, like genuinely couldn't have made up a worse disaster. No AJ Brown in this game. Jason Kelsey retires right after. You're probably out of coach. You're gonna figure that out this offseason. Mesh Jalen Hurts with someone new. It's a real disaster. And but shout out to Baker. Shout out to this guy. Earned a payday in this game. He really went into Philly, and it was or he just dominated Philly at home, and it was a really fun one to watch. It was honestly a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to watch Baker. So yeah, really fun weekend of football games. A lot of young quarterbacks taking the league by storm. So you love to see it. You have to commend all of it, and yeah, just really fun weekend. Any extra hot takes or anything before you get out of here?
Yeah, I got one. I got one on the spot. I think Ben Johnson, for whatever team he coaches next year, and I don't care who it is, will make the playoffs and they'll win a playoff game. I think Ben Johnson is that good. I think he'll take that D'Amico Ryans, leap in his first year and literally take his team to the playoffs and win a playoff game. So that's my exact hot take. It doesn't even actually really feel like a hot take because Ben Johnson is him, and it's gonna be fun to see where he ends up.
No, I love that so much. I'm going to build off your hot take. He's going to go to the Redskins. He's going to draft Drake May second overall. It's going to be Ben Johnson, Drake May. I think Ben Johnson will build a good roster around Drake May. Terry McLaurin and Drake May, by the way, is going to be an awesome duo. actually see Drake May really utilizing Terry McLaurin. So that'd be fun. And I think Ben Johnson could get a good defensive coordinator in there, elevate that defense. I could see the Commanders being a playoff team if you got them kind of like a mini Chargers. So I really like the hot take. And yeah, really, really fun episode. Excited for our divisional round predictions here in a few days. So yeah, stay tuned to the NFL Seekers podcast. We got a mock draft coming out soon. All right, peace.
Stay tuned.